Top of the morning to you.
It's 5 in the afternoon. My grandparents have already eaten dinner and gone to bed.
Aye, lassie, you don't always have to get harsh on me now. Just having a little bit of St. Paddy's Day fun.
Don't call me lassie, I'm not a dog.
Yappering on about it, are you?
Drop the bit. St. Patrick's Day was this past Sunday. You're way too late.
Well, I read too much Lucky the Leprechaun fan fiction.
Not surprised.
You're not one to judge your Tony the Tiger fan fiction.
Welcome back to The Real Deal, Ball State's premier entertainment news show. I'm your host, Abby Perry.
And I'm Noah Bullard, just looking for me pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Have you seen it by chance? The IRS is looking for me for my back taxes.
If we put up with this dumb leprechaun phase of yours, will you just drop it?
It's not a phase, Mom, it's who I am.
There, you stopped it!
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a 3-foot-tall ginger-haired green suit-wearing leprechaun who just wants a nice pint and some haggis on a cold, drizzy morning.
Oh my god, you're so dramatic. You should just be on a reality TV show.
Oh, perfect. Tiara can give my reality show a review along with the other one she's giving right now. Tiara?
Look, I'm just gonna be totally honest. I love reality TV. Yes, I understand it's vapid and shallow and portrays many negative stereotypes about women and people of color, but I love reality TV, and I always have loved it for a really long time. From The Real World to Girls Next Door, Jersey Shore, Flavor of Love, whatever it is, if it's absolutely ridiculous, I've probably watched it and I've probably loved it. Anyway, my latest reality TV obsession started with an iPhone game that I've spent far too much money on. Sorry, Mom. The Love Island game is a choose-your-own-adventure style game in the vein of something like Episodes, and then you get the choices that cost too many gems, and then they force you to spend money, and you can best believe that I'm gonna wear the cute white bikini versus the basic black one so I can get the islander of my dreams. Anyway, I'm really into it, if you can't tell. And it led me to search out the TV show it's based on. And after finishing season 1, I'm addicted to it. So, the Love Island show basically features a ton of young, hot, single British people, and they have to be coupled up or they get eliminated from the island. And within that, we get a ton of surprise eliminations, surprise additions to the villa, and tons of drama, and it's so bad. And I am genuinely obsessed with every second. The guys are the first to show up to the villa, and they're all horrible people. Like, if you want to see the worst men in the world, just watch Love Island. Literally, when the girls finally arrive, they all have to step forward for whatever girl they think is the most attractive, and one of the guys, Lewis, stepped forward for like all of them, and it was the most frustrating thing. Anyway, after they get coupled up, things seem well in the villa until these two twins arrive. They won't stop referring to themselves as Italian, and even the narrator keeps pointing out that these two idiots are from Manchester, and the twins, they're the worst. They're rude, they're full of themselves, and so are most of the guys on the island for that matter. The girls are just way better. In fact, I feel bad for a lot of them because they have to put up with so much crap that these guys put them through. It's ridiculous. So many tears are wasted on these dudes that treat these girls like crap. The only girls I ended up really not liking were Naomi and Beth. Both of them had problems with deciding what other girls should and shouldn't do with their own bodies. Rule number 1 of girl code, we don't shame other girls for doing things that don't hurt other people. I'm getting frustrated all over again, and if anyone else chooses to watch this, and you should, it's on Hulu, and it's horrible and amazing all of the time. You will get violently angry at all of these people at some point. I don't think I've ever seen a group of more shallow, dramatic, and ridiculous people, but I love them, and I'm totally 110% invested in their love lives and the insane things they do around the villa. Speaking of the villa, I'm pretty sure it smells so bad. I'm pretty sure I can smell every single room through the screen. That scent is so strong, I'm still sick. Anyway, I don't want to spoil who wins the $50,000 at the end or who ends up together or whatever, but I do want to say that this is the most important show I've ever watched, and I'm not joking. I have 3 more seasons of this show before it comes back in the summer, so I have some catching up to do. I'm Tiara Spells. Watching Love Island has become my only personality trait, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Tiara. This is definitely going to fuel my next reality TV show binge. I have a confession, though. I have the game and I'm playing it.
The Love Island? That's already the name of my TV show.
What, you're all alone on an island because no one will love you?
You know, I'm hurt. I'm genuinely hurt.
It's okay. You can just try to start your life over on your little island.
Is it my second chance?
Oh, I get it. Michael's Afterlife review. It's life after life, after space life, like the life after the life, because it's after the like. All right, care to show us what Afterlife is about, Michael?
Afterlife is the most recent narrative outing from Ricky Gervais. He is well known for creating the original Office in the UK. This new outing, while listed as a dark comedy and drama on Netflix, really pushes how far the genre can go without being funny. Afterlife explores Tony, a small-town journalist whose wife has died of breast cancer after 25 years of marriage. In his grief and subsequent depression, Tony finds his quote-unquote superpower. He can do whatever he wants and tell everyone what he really thinks. And when he gets tired of it all, he'll kill himself. Afterlife gives a much-needed honest look into grief, depression, and suicide. Tony finds himself close to taking his own life until he latches on to one thing and finds a reason to continue living. Mostly it's his dog Brandy that saves him. Tony, also while depressed, is still able to get up, continue working, and go about life. This is a side that shows rarely explored when it comes to depression. Not everyone who is depressed is unable to get out of bed or function normally. While this is sometimes the case, it is not the only way people with depression behave. It also does a good job of showing the resistance to personal change. When Tony's wife dies, he finds life not worth living, and he's sure he'll never be as happy as he was with Liza, his wife. Tony lashes out at society as he's perceived as needing punishment, and he is the one who should dole out that punishment, as he can't be bothered to care about the niceties anymore. He continually says he doesn't care about the consequences of his actions, but time and time again, he does find himself caring, and because of his caring, Tony finds himself even more irritated. The shining light of his change is another widow he meets in the cemetery. She challenges Tony's selfish view of happiness. He only cares about his own and doesn't even consider others. The show isn't without fault, though. There are some pacing issues in the first episode, and the series is rather short at just 6 episodes. This leads to some of the changes coming about, mostly in the last episode, feeling way too quick, and it doesn't seem realistic. Tony is, all things considered, an unlikable character. The things he says and does ring very close to Gervais's outrage style and quote-unquote not caring about others' feelings. Often in the show, you find the other characters saying that they know Tony's a good guy, even though every single action points to the opposite. The other characters often feel as though they're plot devices who are here to reiterate to the audience that despite any action, Tony's really a good guy, rather than being actual characters themselves. Afterlife finds itself teetering on a very thin line that finds itself meandering back and forth across. While it does a good job showing mental health issue, it also has a major character problem. Fortunately, with the show being short, 6 episodes at around a half hour each, it's really easy to binge and form an opinion of yourself. Beware if you intend to watch it though. It does contain a lot of adult content and it's a British TV show, so there is a lot of swearing. I give Afterlife a 3 out of 5. I've been Michael Smith and I'll be back next time. Back to you, Noah.
Thanks, Michael. Take this imaginary gold star for your amazing work.
A gold star?
My pot of gold? Michael, did you steal my gold?
Well, Michael's review was the gold standard of Afterlife reviews.
Dang. Maybe next time.
A little more, a little more. If you were water, I'd be a glass. If you were a foot, I'd be a sock. I can't get you out of my head. What happened to me with you, I thought it was never gonna happen again.
Happy birthday, sweetheart. That's my ex-husband.
Then we were in love.
No. Wasn't an easy situation.
Really?
There's a family in our driveway.
It's probably the neighbors. But y'all scared of a family? Hi, can I help you?
Zora, put your shoes on.
If you want to get crazy, we can get crazy.
There's a cost here. Think twice before you continue.
Put it on my credit card.
Remember me?
You been reading the news lately?
Yeah, I'm glad they got that meth lab in the dumpster near Ball State's campus.
Well, I know of another dumpster doing illegal things.
Who?
AMC.
What? I mean, yeah, The Walking Dead went downhill, but they've still got everything going for them. Their other shows aren't missing any beats. They're great.
Do you know what the real deal is really missing?
Lesson why you shouldn't put meth labs in dumpsters?
Well, if they had it, Muncie should definitely watch it. But I was thinking more karate. Hi-ya!
Easy there. That's as good of a segue as any. Here's Landon with Into the Badlands.
I'm sure many of you have heard of or at least seen something on the AMC show Into the Badlands. If you haven't, well, you're missing out. I've been watching Into the Badlands for a while now, and it has to be up there as one of my top favorite shows. There's something about AMC shows that show high quality and amazing storytelling. For example, Mad Men, Breaking Bad, the Breaking Bad spinoff Better Call Saul, and now Into the Badlands. This show is fantastic, and I want to let you know why you should at least try this show out. First things first, this show's story is phenomenal. The show follows a Clipper named Sonny, who is the best in his territory with the most kills out of any other Clipper. He is regent under his Baron Quinn. Clippers are people who are trained warriors and assassins that work under barons. These barons rule the Badlands almost like kings and queens. After guns and gun assembly were banned in this world, these Clippers only used martial arts and melee weaponry to do their killings. After going out on a mission assigned by his baron, Sonny runs into a boy named MK, who is said to have powers unlike any other. Without spoiling anything else, the story continues on with Sonny training MK as a war between a baron named the Widow and the other barons begin. The show executes the story so well, with other underlying stories along the way. Each episode has some sort of twist that makes the viewer just want to watch more. Now, one of the biggest things this show did well is the combat. And by combat, I mean martial arts, ninja-like combat. Each combat scene leaves you twisting and turning with how heated and brutal it can get. 1 second, Sonny is calm and collected, the next he's throwing enemies over his head and snapping necks. Not to mention, the fighting looks completely real. I feel for the people getting hurt. Into the Badlands is one of the few shows that get fight scenes right. And with the third season just released on Netflix and the fourth season airing on AMC, I can't wait to binge watch the next fight scenes to come. And finally, this show is easily in my top 10 shows of all time, and many people agree. This show is rated pretty highly with an 85% on Rotten Tomatoes and an 8.1 on IMDb. Yes, those are pretty alright reviews, but in all honesty, there really isn't much this show does wrong. Its cast is fantastic with actors and actresses such as Daniel Wu as Sonny, Aramis Knight as MK, Emily Beecham as the Widow, and Nick Frost as Baji, who comes in season 2, and many more talented actors and actresses. All in all, please watch this show. You will not be wasting your time at all. There's plenty of action, suspense, drama, and so much more packed into each episode, and trust me, you will not regret it. Altogether, this show gets a 5 out of 5 in my book. I'm Landon Corbin, and I'll see you next time.
Thanks, Landon. Now we've got to go and watch AMC more often.
Shameless plug time. This week we've got Unwind Rewind and a special feature. Check out our first episode of the Real Deals game show, Are You Not Entertained?
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. World peace has been found, and it's located right here on this show. Now, what makes this show so worthy of bringing about world peace? Well, it's a game show, hosted by me. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I take great pleasure in introducing you to the very first episode of the greatest game show in the world. Are you not entertained?
Oh, pip-pip-a-doodly-doo.
Hey, that's my line.
You don't have a monopoly on Drake and Josh.
Oh, take it easy, man.
Don't antagonize me about the love of my life.
Well, don't take my line and I won't antagonize me.
Don't take my line. Well, don't take Nate's line.
An ace line? Well, maybe I will because I bet he took me pot of gold.
Maybe we should send in a special task to get your gold back.
What are you talking about?
Nate can tell you. Nate?
Big budget movies on Netflix can be very hit or miss. For every Oakjaw or Outlaw King, there's a Bright or Ridiculous Six. With a film with a rocky pre-production like Triple Frontier, I didn't know what to expect. Before it landed its final cast, big names such as Tom Hanks, Will Smith, Johnny Depp, Channing Tatum, Tom Hardy, Mahershala Ali, Mark Wahlberg, and Casey Affleck were all circling roles. Ben Affleck dropped out of the film at one point, only to rejoin a little bit later. The film had gone through various directors like Catherine Bigelow and was initially set up at Paramount before they decided to pass on the film. But with some promising marketing and a cast that includes Oscar Isaac, Pedro Pascal, Charlie Hunnam, and Garrett Hedlund starring alongside Affleck, I thought maybe this film could turn out to be a solid action thriller. And that's basically what this is. Triple Frontier follows 5 friends who used to serve in the Special Forces together. They've drifted apart over the years, but Pope, played by Oscar Isaac, brings them back together for a mission that could make their lives much better. They're going to rob a powerful drug lord in South America. In an interesting twist, the main heist of the film takes place in the beginning of the second act, and the rest of the film deals with the aftermath of the robbery. It almost becomes more of a film about survival rather than a film that's focused on bloated action scenes. Though this shouldn't be that surprising, as the film's director, J.C. Chandor, had previously directed the slow burn survival film All Is Lost, starring Robert Redford. Still, this is easily his most commercial film. There's quite a bit to like about this. The action is incredibly entertaining. I was never bored for a second, and the 5 lead actors all share terrific chemistry with each other, and they do actually feel like old friends. And yes, sorry Lord Spielberg, but this is not a TV movie. It clearly has the production level of your average action film you would see in theaters. The film does still run into quite a bit of problems. There's almost zero character development for most of our leads, and the ones that do are honestly kind of irritating. Affleck. And for a film as gritty as what it's trying to be, there's certainly a lot of stupid moments and way too many times where you have to suspend your disbelief. The film also runs a little long at 2 hours, but honestly, that's fine since I didn't have to sit through 30 minutes of trailers before watching this. Where there's some glaring flaws here, that certainly didn't stop me from having a good time with the film, though it did really stop me from loving it. Overall, it's certainly worth a watch, especially since it's on Netflix. I'm giving Triple Frontier 3.5 stars out of 5. Until next time, I'm Nate Richard.
Thank you, Nate. That was a great review.
Did you finally find your pot of gold?
Well, no, I haven't.
Look deeper.
Is my pot of gold a symbol for the friendships we make here in The Real Deal?
No, we're not friends. It's under the desk.
Liar!
Are you calling me a liar?
I ain't calling you a truther. Oh, never mind. It's underneath my right foot. Hang on.
I told you it was under the desk.
Again, the day it nearly ended. We found you with no memory. We made you one of us. So you could live longer, stronger, superior.
No way.
Welcome to the park. Have a nice day.
My lung function is down to 35% now.
People with cystic fibrosis aren't supposed to get within 6 feet because we could end up catching each other's bacteria.
Nothing's gonna save our lives, Stella. We're breathing borrowed air.
No.
Hey, Abby here. We need to talk. So there's this show called Superstore, and I'm in love with it. It's very similar to some of my favorite shows like The Office, Parks and Rec, or Brooklyn Nine-Nine. If it is so similar to these shows though, why isn't it as popular? Or why doesn't it even get a quarter of the hype of these shows? I think it could compete with the other 3 shows incredibly well. Each show has a different work location, a paper company, a government building, and a police department. This show is set in a grocery store, but not just any grocery store. This store is the equivalent of a Walmart, and they make that very clear. So why don't people see the comedy in it? Jokes about the crowds in Walmart are everywhere. It's a show that basically showcases all of these jokes while maintaining the exaggerated quirks of each character like the other shows we love. And I think the concept deserves a little more credit. Now, my fellow segment producer, Angelo, has talked about this in the past. He pointed out that he believed Brooklyn Nine-Nine was more than comparable to Parks and Rec and The Office. He also raised the point that the show required a little bit of media attention before people really appreciated it to the same level as Parks and Rec and The Office. This made me think, will Superstore meet the same fate? It's possible, but our generation has reached a point where we will do absolutely anything to avoid paying for our television enjoyment. We rely on using our friends' and family's Netflix or finding videos on YouTube. Shows like Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Superstore will probably make it to Netflix one day, but right now they're just slowly piling onto Hulu. Superstore is coming out with 1 episode a week on Hulu, and just as we don't like paying for our TV, we don't like waiting for it anymore either. After all this rambling, I guess my overall point is that it's really sad because we are so used to binge watching entire series and not paying a dime to do so. And we're missing out on some really great content that is very similar to stuff we may have watched more than 3 times through. I know more people who rewatch The Office twice a year than have seen 1 episode of Superstore, and I firmly believe that they would love the show. But until people go back to enjoying weekly episodes of TV or paying a little extra, everyone will hype up all the same shows over and over again until the new ones finally get media attention, or until someone starts making those memes. I'm scared that our entertainment world is becoming a constant circle, but only time will tell, I guess. That's all I have for you today. Noah?
You know, I tend to agree with you, Abby. The world of entertainment television is rife with cut and paste carbon copies of other shows, and it's tough to diverge from our favorite series when we see a show that really looks similar at face value. However, there's a show I'm a little late on the bandwagon for that I finished last night. It's Netflix's original series, Marco Polo. It's a historically accurate drama, and I was incredibly impressed with it. Now, the show has its fair share of doubters, and it's well-founded, really. It's not as accurate as it's presented to be. It's an entirely fair reason to disregard the show in theory. It's the reason why I didn't watch it for so long. It's about 20% history, 80% fantasy, and it has a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, but it really is better than those numbers suggest. There are lots of things wrong with the series. It's got tons of plot holes. It's a little odd seeing some fairly important characters in this era of Mongolian history either not mentioned or incredibly underdeveloped. However, it's a big budget show and it's got some pretty incredible effects. It's got an addicting plot line. It feels more like a murder mystery than a tale of a famous Silk Road trader. Marco Polo himself is really almost secondary to the events in the series. His character feels like an observer, and he doesn't really get involved with the main plot lines until the beginning of the 2nd season. The show hasn't been renewed for a 3rd season, making it the first Netflix series to be cut after 2 seasons. And while I could voice my own displeasure about how that 2nd season ended, it's important to note that the team didn't know they were being cut until after they'd plotted out that 3rd season. So it's not historically accurate. It's got huge plot holes, and it doesn't really focus on the character it's named for. With that being said, though, it's one of those shows that, despite all of its problems, is still really deserving of a look.
Well put, Noah. Well put.
That'll be our episode for the week. If you want more from The Real Deal, check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and the website for all things entertainment. I'm your host, Noah Bullard.
And I'm Abby Perry. See you next time on The Real Deal.